Good filmmaking is all about maintaining continuity. Because you're piecing together dozens of individual shots, you need to maintain the illusion that the action taking place on screen is continuous. And that's the real magic of filmmaking. You can practice this with your walking shots. Here I am, going to be walking here in what's called an establishing shot, and it's filmed at the wide shot size.
Action.
You can see my feet, it's a wide shot. You can see the top of my head in the same framing, it's a wide shot. And I'm just walking from screen right to screen left. You have to actor has to repeat a reset to the starting point. And now my student has moved probably just 1.5 meters closer. It's still an establishing shot. You see the background. That will be a walk by, but it's a medium shot size.
Action.
See, it's cropped at the waist. So to get that shot, I had to stand there. She locked focus and exposure, and then I moved back to my starting position, and she started filming, said action. I walked past. Once I cleared the frame, she waited another second or two and stopped filming and said cut. Shot sizes. If you're confused about what I'm talking about between wide, medium, and close, well, those are the primary shot sizes, the variations that we have where the camera is in reference to the primary subject of any scene. Let me just take you to Egypt real quickly and go inside a typical classroom. Here I'm training a documentary film crew. We're making a movie. I'm training journalists how to do documentary filmmaking. And here's a wide shot that shows the whole team plus the subject, the teacher. The medium shot now moves in closer to the interviewer and the camera, and you see more details. And then a close shot, an over the shoulder, if you will, of the assistant making notes of the interview responses. Why those shots connect together is because the camera can also move along a shooting line. We've been talking about a person walking along a line between point A and point B, and the camera being at different positions on one side of that line. But also the camera has a line between itself and the subject. And so that's how you get variations. So when you're filming your walking shots, you want to film some more variations, and you don't want to use digital zoom. You actually want to move the camera. Here we are moving the camera to get a face shot. So this is like medium shot size framing. It's cropped at about the waist. And the camera operator, my student, the filmmaker, is going to be walking backwards while I in parallel with the camera. So this is called reverse tracking. And you have to make sure the path behind you is clear before you start rolling. So she takes 2 steps, stops, and I continue on to leave the frame. Very important. So that's a nice reverse tracking shot with an exit. If I never left the frame, it might not give you an edit point, so you can't make a shorter edit. Here's a variation on that same shot, medium shot size framing, a face shot featuring our subject, me, the poor victim for my student. But in this case, the camera stays stable or steady.
Action.
So for each camera position, you can film a couple different ways, with motion, without. In this shot, again, I'm just walking from the same point A to point B down this sidewalk. The camera is always over my left side of my body, so all the camera positions are to the left of me. And this is an over-the-shoulder, medium shot size, tracking. In other words, the camera's going to follow me. Okay, a few seconds of that. It's good. Every clip is, maximum 10 seconds. And you want to make sure you've got a second before the subject starts walking and at least a second after so that you can make sure you get it captured properly. Now here's the same over-the-shoulder framing, but the camera doesn't move, so it's a stable shot. You can put it on a tripod, for example. So your character enters the location where the graffiti is in Berlin. Here's another slightly wider, maybe it's not medium shots, maybe medium wide, somewhere between. I'm not really seeing the shoes, but it's a little wider than what we saw before. Again, just another variation to give us choices when we put together our edit. Now the POV shot, a point of view, is a neutral shot content. You see the subject, the camera becomes the eyes of the subject walking along the path, what they see. Then you can try to look for different compositional aspects. Maybe further on down the path, you restart a new filming sequence following the same ideas, but you maybe look for more creative options, like look at these strong leading lines. Look how the background becomes such a dominant element as our character walks through it. So what's critical here is that your subject walks the same way for each take, and that the content that happens in the background is the same. So we have to be careful of like people arriving or trucks arriving and somehow changing the continuity. If that happens, you just have to restart your filming, and that's just filmmaking. And then here's an over-the-shoulder tracking shot with just a little bit of a surprise ending. The subject jumps away and escapes from the filmmaker's lens. So those are some over-the-shoulder shots, wide shots, all walking shots. Don't forget to also film like a portrait in slow-mo. You can always do this with a subject and get some head turns. You can even tell them that you're just taking a still picture, but film in slow motion, and you might get a little bit of nice few seconds that reveal the personality of the person you're filming. Yeah? So, without further ado, it's your turn. Oh, but don't forget neutral shots. You really need neutral shots. A POV is great, but it's not often enough. So what was neutral about the scene where I was filming? What about just some general shots of the graffiti art itself without your character walking by? So we filmed a few of those as well. And don't forget close-ups. Those details are really eye-catchers